Hello! Thanks so much for checking out the first installment of Diving Indie. In this interview, we talked to Vulnor, one of the main developers of Golf Party, and he gives us the inside scoop on a lot of things, including being a first-time game dev, the struggles with finding and holding down staff, what it's like to work with Unreal Engine, and what the heck a Polygon is. There's a whole lot more than that, so I hope that you really enjoy, and if you find this inside look valuable, I hope you'll like and subscribe for future interviews. Thanks so much, and have a great time. All right, to get things started, how about you just tell us a little bit about you, about, what your role is on the Golf Party team, and just a little bit about the game.
Yeah, so basically I kind of do a little bit of everything. When the initial idea of Golf Party came about, it was basically because we played golf with your friends and we really liked the game. But we just felt like it was missing so much more. Just the general idea of the concept of a mini golf game. Like every time you play a mini golf game or anything about it, it's just mini golf.
Right.
But that's not what mini golf's about. Mini golf's about fun, having fun, playing games, with your friends and everything else. And it's not meant to be normal golf. So we came up with the idea, if we add some mini games? What if we add different game modes, but still encompass an idea of golf or mini golf? And so that's how Racer came about, was because we're like, well, how do we integrate Racer, like a racing game, with golf?
Right, exactly.
And so and we were like, well, obviously the ball needs to still be a golf ball. So how do we have a racing game with a golf ball?
You did it.
and then it just kind of took me like, well, let's take an element with marbles. Everybody loves marbles, but marbles really isn't fun because you just, it's like putting a ball in a plinko machine and just hopefully it goes where you want it to go.
Exactly. And you're sitting there like, no, go faster. Why are you flying off the edge? But you can't do anything.
Exactly. So we came up with the idea, well, if you control it, it's a fully actual racing game mode with marbles, then it'll work out. We have some other game modes planned out as well. We have one already prototyped, but it's still a work in progress. It's very similar to Tron Light Cycles.
Oh, what? That sounds really cool. But with golf balls?
But you're the golf ball. So your golf ball creates the trail. I mean, we already have the trail system in the game, so it was really easy to implement. And it'll create a longer trail. And so right now we're adjusting the game mode. We're adjusting some of the coding and stuff like that. But eventually, yeah, it's gonna be called Light Ball, because we can't state or advertise that it's Tron. Disney will bring down the lawsuit hammer in a heartbeat. But that's the only way to describe it, or it's like one of those other games, kind of like Snake, where it creates the trail and so similar to that, but it's
Yeah, I love the way you've gone in this direction where you see little tidbits of other things and you just sort of you just change them just enough where people can find this new way to enjoy them. I think that's so creative and really reflects, why this is a unique project.
Yeah. So another thing is how this all started was I just decided I want to make a game. And I have very minimal coding experience. I can read code, but I can't really create code, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I understand what it's doing and what it says. But for me to sit down and create it from scratch, I think we'd still be on the main menu portion of the game if it was left up to me. So, but I did pretty much. I had a hand in almost everything. So I went on some forums and I found a coder and I talked to him and I got him hooked on the idea to create the game. Why it was achievable, why we were able to do it. In a decent amount of time frame as well, because when you create a game, it always takes a lot longer than you could ever possibly expect.
Yeah. How long did this game take to get to the point where it was ready for early access?
So I fully believe that the game wasn't ready for full early access until January 29th.
Yeah.
and that's the day the game released.
Wow. But I feel like that's not uncommon. And honestly, I feel like there are a lot of games that go for full release and they're not ready anyways. So
Yeah, and we know Golf Party is not in a full release state. We know it's early access. We know that we still need to get some more maps, some more mini games, some more things, and there's a couple of bugs here and there that we're still working out. But we are only like a 3-man team basically,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
the game started development September 1st, 2020.
Oh, wow. That's not that long at all. I was expecting like a year or more.
That's what blew us away too. So it was me and a coder. His name's Brizzle.
Mm.
And then we got a 3D modeler to join the team, and he participated in the project for 1 month.
Hmm.
He made basically, if you see my screen over here, he made the texture for the grass.
Oh.
He made this border system, and basically all the borders that go along with for the golf portion of the game.
Right.
And then basically, he made this windmill as well, and then
That's
he
just
backed out. He just
Oh.
he just vanished. He went AWOL
Is that the one that you found online who you approached there? Or is this someone else?
for the 3D modeler. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So and then it just became this cycle of finding 3D modelers that would join, and they would do something, and then they would just disappear.
Interesting.
Like
Huh.
constantly.
I mean, my thought would be, you can't even get paid until the game's released, so they're putting this time in. Like, were they was it just sort of like, I'm bored with this and I don't feel like using my free time for it?
Yeah. Well, so the first 3D modeler, he was very active in it, and then I gave him the project of creating the arcade building,
Mm.
which is
Mhm.
now in the lobby. I don't know if you guys can notice, those who have played the game, this might look a little familiar.
Yep.
It's the main menu.
Hey. So that's what that camera is. It's showing like the perspective that we see on the
That
menu.
is that's the perspective that you see for when I hit play, or when you launch the game. Your screen is in this camera position.
Mm. And what is this programming? Is this Unity?
No, this is Unreal Engine.
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things coming out with Unreal Engine. You're gonna
Yeah.
see a lot more games being
For
made on
real.
it. When Unreal Engine 5 comes out, it's getting nuts. Basically, one of the things with the new Unreal Engine 5 is developers aren't going to have to worry about polygons,
Hmm.
which is huge.
And I know you mentioned polygons when we were talking online, and as I said, I don't know I don't know at all what that means. For explain like
So,
I'm 5.
okay, so I can. Okay, so basically, this
Huh.
is kind of a hard example of the tree. Let's see if we can do something like this.
Is it literally like individual shapes within the greater
Basically,
structure? Huh.
so when we go into here, okay, so
Whoa.
now that you can see this part of the windmill,
This is very cool.
okay, see every single see every little piece that's triangled
Yeah.
out. These are called triangles, and for some reason, game engines convert everything into triangles instead of squares. When you 3D model stuff and you create this, it was created using squares, and then it transforms it into triangles
Huh.
inside the engine. Why? I don't know. But so you can see here, every single triangle you see here
Oh wow.
is what's called just a single like vertice or polygon.
Hmm. Okay.
This is the absolute dumbed down version of it,
Gotcha.
so that everybody can follow. And so right here, just in this front facing part of the windmill, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, roughly 16, 17 polygons or vertices right here, just in this area right here.
Mm.
And then you have all these that go in a circle, and you have all these insides, and you have all these, and basically what that happens is it gives you what's called a polygon or vertice count.
Oh.
And all that does is tell you how much it's going to take to render this object in game.
Oh, okay. That makes
So,
sense.
for instance, this windmill is probably 3,000, maybe 5,000 vertices. Because you also,
I think it says in the top left.
Does it? It does. So it's 1745, 1,745 vertices, or polygons. Wow. So basically, this object alone is 1,800, which is actually the same amount that a single tree is. Like this tree. This tree is roughly 1,700 vertices. Which it's harder to tell because the textures, because like if you look like this right here is a flat surface, and then it's just a bunch of flat surfaces attached to each other to create the 3D look of a tree. Well, the more vertices you have, the harder it is for your computer to render everything. So basically you have 1,500, 3,000, 4,500, 6,000, 7,500, and you see how it keeps going.
Right.
So you have to keep in mind when you're creating things, your vertice count. Because the computers have to render it, and the more vertices it has to render, the harder it is for computers, especially like lower end computers, to be able to keep up with, to give you those frame rates. That's why our game doesn't perform as well as like a game like Golf with Your Friends. Because Golf with Your Friends, everything is super low vertice. Everything is super low on everything.
Interesting.
So like their windmill that they have is probably like 300 vertices.
Huh.
Our windmill 1,700. Not trying to compare. It's not a crazy amount, but it's still like 20% of the vertices for this one object.
Right. So I had a question in chat real quick.
Yeah.
If you miss with one of the polygons, does it impact the others? Like in that kind of half circle shape or one of the circles, how does it work when you're like interacting with those individual polygons? I don't know if that's how it works.
So it doesn't work like that in the engine, because you can sculpt in the engine. You can, but it's like really difficult. But I can the way that the engine does it inside the engine, because you're supposed to use for modeling, you're supposed to use another program like Maya or 3D Studio Max or Lightwave, other 3D programs. But what I can do is I can go into it and select each one of these polygons and do things like texture it. So for instance, if something didn't get created correctly through the texturing process, I can go in and select each one of these faces and change the texture that goes onto it. And that's how you can get like this silver like metal texture on this, and then this tan texturing, and then that's how you get all the wood textures along the outsides to give it more detail and just move on with that. But for the most part, like I could delete it,
and it just disappears.
that polygon just disappears.
Interesting.
The vertice, and it just so but actual sculpting, it's not done in the engine, it's done in other programs. Interesting.
Cool.
So as you go, this is a very small, what we call world or map. All we have some trees, we have a couple of rocks, and then we have the landscape. You see the outline of the landscape, and then we have just some extra grass spread throughout, just to give it a little more detail for the main menu.
Yeah.
And that's really it. That's all that we have. We have a little bit of water here, but it's just not really much. Another thing is one of the little gimmies that you guys would never know is in the main menu. The same ball that you see in the store, like when you're selecting items and stuff for your golf ball, to like attach a hat or anything to.
Yeah. That's smart.
That's the little guy. So because the idea is when you first initially load the game, you need to, you have the world that's loaded, but you don't want it to be a big world because you want it to load quickly. Well, when you're in the store, what's the world that's loaded? It's the main menu map's still loaded because you're still in the main menu. And so that's why you see the ball here.
That's smart. That makes sense to keep things running smoothly.
And so now every time you play the game and you're gonna go, oh, the little golf ball's right over here. You just don't see it.
I love that. That's so cool. Also, okay, chat really likes these polygons. So, is a polygon only visible from one side? I noticed when you deleted that one, we could see through the rest of the windmill. So is that just sort of how they work?
So typically things are one-sided.
Mm.
Typically. But you can go into the actual object itself, and when especially inside the engine, you can do things like set the collision presets. So for instance, if I do okay, so this is what's called simple collision that you're seeing here.
Mm.
What? Maybe not.
Like the idea of it hitting the ground or the object?
So this is not simple collision. This object's already been changed. Simple collision actually would just create a box around the object,
Mm.
and you wouldn't be able to go into here, like in the hole or anything else. And so simple collision literally creates a box around the object, and then when you go to advanced collision or complex collision, it actually maps out around the object for all the parts that you don't want the player to go through or to be able to step up on or go through. And so this has been converted to advanced, obviously, because you need the golf ball to be able to go through. And that's why I can't show you simple collision on this object.
That's probably fair.
So the vertice count with the vertices, when you're actually in here, let me see if I don't do a whole lot of this part.
I'm just sitting here going like, I real hope he doesn't mess up the whole game because he's trying to show us something.
Oh, nope. Their system is in place. I can delete a bunch of crap and you guys would never know.
Good.
Like, so there is a thing in here that's called use double-sided collision or double-sided I can't think of the word, but it's basically make it double-sided.
Right.
So that you can't see through it. But you don't do that on a lot of objects because you're literally doubling the vertice count in order to do that. So I can actually give you an example of something like that. What we can do is we'll go to Golf Park Night. So I just did a hole adjustment to this hole 15.
Oh.
As you can see, it now goes straight. So when you come up here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember this one.
It used to come down here, and then you would stop here, and then you had to go right, and then you could shoot up. So I basically got rid of that turn.
Gotcha.
Basically, because that turn was just made to like make you lose a hit. I don't know. We got some complaints on it, so we just decided to go ahead and adjust it. So to give you an example of double-sided, or what a game developer would do to fix it, so that you don't see it, is, for instance, this object right here. This is just a flat panel with stone on it. But as you can see through the other objects. And so obviously we don't need to be able to see through it on this side. Right. So we would never make it double-sided because now you're rendering double the vertice counts for the flat panel, even though the flat panel is 1.
Right.
But some objects are a lot bigger than that, right? So like another thing you would do is you would do little tricks to help with optimization, and you would do something like this. So like you can't see how you can't see them.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you would do something like this, and you would rotate it. And now you see both. And this obviously doesn't make sense because it's a 1 polygon, but let's say for objects or items that are more than just 1 polygon, creating a double-sided sometimes actually like triples the polygon count.
Right.
It's just the way it works. Because sometimes if you double-side it and let's say it's like an object that has like an incline into it and everything else, it's rendering all those inclines and everything else twice in the same object. And you don't want objects to be huge. Like, you want them to keep them small. So it's actually easier for the game to render 2 objects rather than just making one bigger one.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So Devin asks, if you had a house that had the same visual appeal like a brick wall, like what you were showing there, would you just turn on the double to keep the view on both sides?
Well, it depends. Are we going inside the house or are we just looking at the house?
That's a good question. To keep the view on both sides. Yeah, I guess if you were
because the house
inside
itself wouldn't need to be double-sided unless it's just a texture. Because the house itself, like, you know what? I know exactly where to take you.
Ooh, are we going to the new map? Oh, the arcade! Haha! I'm very excited for all of this.
So this is the arcade building.
It's so fun.
And so by double-sided this is considered a double-sided object. And the reason why is because we need to be able to go inside of it. If I had this closed off and a door was here and I made it so you couldn't see through the windows, it wouldn't need to be double-sided because there's 4 sides to this building. You have the front, then they have the side. Speed this up a little bit. Then you have the back, right? This would not need to be a double-sided object because it has 4 faces to each side.
Mm-hmm.
But if you went inside of it,
oh.
then you'd be able to see out. So this is what we call a double-sided object because this wall alone is this side and this side, so that would be double-sided. So there are objects that you just put in, the extra, like, oh well, this needs to be cost a little extra in the game because, well, we're using it.
Right.
You just do what you can where you can. You can't optimize every single thing in a game. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah. Cool.
So for instance, here we have one of the basketball games, and if you look here, there's actually little collision boxes here.
Oh my gosh.
And so what's happening is there's actually coding currently in the game. We haven't activated it yet. It needs a little more work, but you'll actually be able to play basketball.
Oh my gosh, yes! That's so awesome. I love that detail.
So I don't have it set up here in this map yet, but you'll be able to actually, let's see,
That makes me so happy.
the basketballs drop.
Ah.
So you'll actually be able to, you'll click on the machine and then your camera will be here, and then you'll actually pick up a ball and you'll be able to toss it into the basketball.
Oh, I thought you meant you like hit it and it'll just put you actually. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
So like we're playing on like tiny little mini games, like extra mini games, while you're actually in the lobby waiting for everyone else to join the game.
That's so cool.
Same thing for skee ball. You'll come up to it and then your ball will spawn here and you'll be able to shoot into the holes.
I love that. That is so smart.
Then the claw machine as well.
Oh no.
The claw machine actually is fully programmed.
Now that's dangerous.
You'll actually be able to go into it and use the claw machine and try to grab like a bear or something, or another, like a hat item or something, and it'll fall out and then it'll spawn on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Next to it.
I hope that'll be just as rigged as in normal arcades.
Actually, it's not. You win pretty like almost every time. Yeah.
Where's the fun in that winning? Make me cry for it. That's really cool. So if you wanted a different texture on like an inside versus an outside, would you have to make that 2 separate objects and sort of put them back together, or can you change the texture if it's doubles, like if you did the double side?
So depending on the actual object itself, there's a lot of little gimmicks and little things that you can do. For instance, this is the same texture on the inside as it is on the outside. The only difference is the lighting. So we have the lighting reflecting and bouncing off the walls to give it a little more depth. Because if we turn off the lighting, it just looks black like this. It just doesn't give it the depth that it has inside with the lighting against the walls. But there are things you can do. For instance, If you want to get a different texture, since this is the same object, right? So we can see, like when I click on it, the entire building itself is selected.
Mm.
So when you go inside, everything is selected. There's actually a 2-story to this. We're actually removing the second story though.
Oh. Well, you got a lot going on, so I'm not surprised.
We were planning on it being 2-story, but we decided we're gonna abandon it. But so there's things you can do. You can take the building and go into the same kind of editor that I was in earlier, and then you see all the vertices and everything else. So what you do is, like, you can take these vertices, and then I can apply a different texture to it, and then the game knows to apply a different texture to just this, rather than on the inside as well. Because since this is double-sided, these are 2 different vertice counts. So if you have this vertice selected, it's not selected on the other side because it's double-sided.
Okay.
But there are other things you can do and little tricks you can do, and for instance, we can. Why did I put it way over there? We can take a flat panel object and basically make it our new object along the wall. This is just an example.
Yeah.
Really quick. And then now we have a new wall, and then we can actually go into it and we can give it a new texture. Let's do something like here. We'll give it the alien grass, and then of course, then you see it's not on the other side.
Huh. Oh, cool! Look at that.
So yeah, there's little things you can do, and obviously it works easier when it's flat, and you have to make 100 of them to create the shape. But
so you mentioned that you don't really have any much background with this stuff. So did you learn this with the intent of making this game? What was that like?
So September 1st, what was actually August 30th is when we decided to make the game. I found the programmer August 31st, the next day. And then we started the project on September 1st. And September 1st was the first day that I opened Unreal Engine.
Wow. It's so hard for me to process because you just seem so comfortable and used to it that I would have guessed you had formal training or you've been doing this for years.
So basically what happened is I understand games. I understand, like I said, I understand programming as well. Doesn't mean I can't code, but I understand the programming.
Right.
In high school, I did have to learn a language, which is a computer programming language that was basically completely obsolete, and make a tiny video game in high school.
Cute.
Which it did win nationally. It was really garbage though.
Yeah, no big deal.
We were the only team that made a 3D game.
Huh.
Like, I couldn't even process in my head making a 2D game, but apparently we were the only ones that made a 3D game. So, I mean, there's that. But
no big deal.
So
a word winner.
But I've been around computers forever, and I have a little bit of knowledge in everything. So, like, I can do a little bit of graphic design. Can I create images and stuff from scratch? Yes, but it's gonna not look good. I'm really good at editing images. So if I get something that I can start with and I can edit it, I do that. So, like, for instance, I created everything you see in the store.
Wow.
But I didn't create like the hats and stuff, right? So the 3D modelers created the hats. Let me show you some.
Yeah.
I need my test level.
I'm getting spoilers just looking through these little names. Ooh. Chicken.
Okay, so here we go.
got a chicken hat
This
too.
is basically how I took all the images for the hats. I took every hat and I lined them out. And basically what I did is I went up to it like this, and I just took a screenshot.
Huh.
And then I just cropped out the image so like I could go through and make sure all the stuff's cropped out to transport into the like store border to put into the game. So I'll give you an example of that in a second. But so this was one of the first levels we made. It's basically like this is my personal developer like test level.
Interesting.
Just for testing things out. For instance, here's a little test of Racer.
It's like a fever dream Minecraft world. I love it.
One of the first concepts of the first mini games we had the skee ball, which I can actually take you to a playable level. I'll actually show you it working in a second.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's not pretty. It's just, but it works. It's prototyped.
No, it's really cool. That's
you'll see what it's supposed to be like in the arcade.
Cool.
This was the first arcade building, and the idea was just, but obviously it's too tiny, especially for 20 players.
Right.
But so the initial idea when we first thought of the arcade, this literally started like October, like November 2020, like the whole arcade idea.
It's still not that far back.
It took us like 4 months though to get it implemented into the game. But the initial idea is that a lot of the mini games, but see, we decided this is actually like a mini game.
Right.
Because initially skee ball was going to actually be a game mode. And so the idea was that you'd have one team here on like one side, and you'd have the score up at the top. So you'd have like 3 or 4 players playing skee ball here, and then you have team 2, 3 or 4 players on this side playing skee ball, and then of course the winning team advances and the losing team is knocked out. And that's kind of like one of the battle royale modes we were talking about.
Right.
So like we were trying to come up with more ideas for battle royale for knocking players out, but one of the things we learned quickly is that people hate team-based battle royales.
Yeah. That's
For instance,
true.
in Fall Guys, one of the most hated game modes,
right,
the team ones. Everybody hates the team ones, so we kind of just backtracked.
I love teams, just for the record, except for the eggs game. Nope.
Yeah, the eggs game team one. That's oh god. So we decided, you know what? Let's just throw it into the arcade. We'll come up with better actual mini games for the actual game mode. So the idea of the arcade building is the arcade building is going to be coming to level 1 soon. And level 1's going to be slowly getting an overhaul as we move forward. The idea of the arcade is that when you're in the arcade,
bye.
when you're in the arcade, you're supposed to be able to look out into like level 1.
Oh,
while you're playing the mini games. That was the initial idea. Currently, now it's in lobby, but so it won't actually ever. That idea probably won't ever make it. But now that when you're in level 1, you'll actually be able to see the arcade because it's supposed to be a mini golf theme park, where a place you go to go play mini golf. That's what level 1 is. It's just not there yet.
Yeah. Hey, but I mean, you're already doing a lot towards that, and
yeah. So really basically, what I'm going to be able to do now is I can actually show you how quickly I can do it, but it won't look pretty, but you'll get the idea. I can take this entire building. So now we're on level 1, and here's the. Where'd it go? There it is.
Oh, hello. It's hiding over the hill. Whoa.
So obviously this is too big.
The scale's a little off.
So here's basically the concept is when you're playing the game and you're playing through it, now you're going to see the arcade building. You're going to see paths come from the arcade building, go into every single hole, because in a mini golf place, you always have paths going to every hole so you can actually go to them. And you'll see a lot more like the tables, the chairs, garbage cans, light posts, the actual trail that goes to everywhere throughout. And then, of course, we'll have like a food place. And basically, we're going to just slowly turn it into the actual design level 1's supposed to be.
Huh.
But as you can see, like, this is the entirety of the level here.
Right.
And it looks really tiny when you're up here, but
not when you're a little tiny ball.
yeah, not when you're this. So that's gonna be the idea. Is basically cool. You're gonna see the arcade building. You're gonna see other things, and it's gonna slowly come in here. And you know, when you see an arcade building in level 1, that's gonna change, and then pathing as well.
Right.
That's gonna change the entire feel of the level.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's amazing how a little change can change the entire feel of the game. And what I mean by that is this.
Oh. A little different. A little bit.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
It just removing some objects alone in a map could just completely change literally everything.
These aren't really things you really think about when you're on the player side. You don't really... It's sort of like you don't think about it, but it does influence the way the game feels.
Completely. Just, I mean, this entire map currently is majority trees. And if you just remove that one aspect, now the game looks like it belongs on a mobile platform.
Right. Right.
With one push of a button. Just a single delete. And then this doesn't even look like the same game.
Right. Interesting.
Let's go show you guys.
I love this. We get the inside scoop. Ski ball. Cool. Okay.
So, and then you'll be able to take it as soon as they stop moving.
Dang.
So give you kind of the idea of what you're going to do in the arcade.
That's a cool idea.
Just a little, you know, something a little to throw in the arcade while you're waiting for your friends to... I haven't downloaded the patch yet.
I like that you think of all these different things that you could do. I mean, and even within that, I feel like you could bring it up and make it a bigger game mode down the line if you need more ideas for things to do. I could see different things you could do with that. But I think that's one of the cool quirks of this game, is that it's just got a lot of unique things that you don't really think about. And I love that you're making the idea, the arcade workable. I did not realize you were going to do that at all, and it's such a cool idea.
Yeah, we don't want people bored. That's the point. Like, you should, when you're playing the game, you should never be bored. There's always something to do, no matter how little it is, and even if you're waiting for a friend, you shouldn't be bored waiting. You guys see the map? Maybe I'll get you guys a little sneak peeks sooner rather than later. But yeah, so we have the blue in the map, and the idea is, you know, you're gonna be the ball and you're going around, like I said. You have the walls, and yeah, up to 20 players, all trying to kill each other.
Fun. So like you'll have like your light path behind you, and you try to get people to hit the path. Is that the idea?
Yep, you want to enclose them in the path and force them to, if they hit your path, like if they hit your wall, then they explode.
Ha ha ha! Can't wait to play this with Tubis. Ah ah ah! That's a really cool idea. I love all these different mini games.
So here's a map that never made it.
Oh, that's so pretty. So
initially, well, this is one of the 3D modelers that just couldn't continue. So this was initially going to be the original castle map.
Gotcha. Oh, that's so frustrating.
So this is the front of the castle, and then you're going to go into the castle because you don't see the behind the castle.
Right.
And the idea is you're going to go into the castle, and then you're in, where the rest of the map is, because you're not going to see the rest of the castle.
Right, right. Oh,
So he created the front of the castle, and then he just went AWOL. Yeah,
interesting.
just like all the other 8 3D modelers that we had.
Oh my God, 8. Okay, wait. September, October, November, December, January. 5 months. Oh my God.
Yeah, we went through a 3D modeler almost every 2 weeks.
Jeez.
There's just nobody would commit. Nobody would do it. Like they'd start and then they'd just stop, and it was like, oh my God.
Man, that's the type of thing that it's another example of things we don't hear about. Like, I feel like there are a lot of challenges in making an indie game, but then there's just a whole nother level of the unexpected, pardon my French, bullshit that you have to put up with when you're trying to make this happen, especially
Yeah.
a new team.
And that's the thing. Like, we didn't know each other when we started. Like, we literally met each other and immediately just went to work.
Yeah.
And the people that stuck around, literally, was the only person that stuck around was the original coder with me.
Wow.
Through the game.
Oh.
So basically, to go back to what I do. So I handled all the images in the main menu while the coder put it together.
Huh.
I got tasked with, getting all of the assets, all of the things that you see in all these levels, like even these candles, like everything is an object. This coffin, skull, everything you see is assets we either had to purchase, collect, or make. Because especially with a 3-man team, we just don't have the ability to, like, we had these torches made. I actually freelanced these torches.
Wow.
And then we had to add the light source and the fire to make it look like, what you actually see in the level.
Looks really good.
So then you see what it looks like.
Huh.
But so basically, I handled majority of the map creation, the testing, map creation, keeping everybody in line, getting the 3D modelers to create the things that they needed to create. When they were done, give them the next thing to create. I kept the programmer going into each system, and just we fine-tuned and created the systems moving forward to actually get the game to a playable state. And what I mean by that is when he's coding, here are different golf balls, literally for different game modes that we've tested or done. So like this is the shop ball, right? So when you're applying the hats and stuff to an object, we have to have its own class for that. Here's the parent ball, right? So this one basically sends data to every single ball. Basically, the data never changes. So here's the coding that we used to create Golf Party.
Whoa!
This is just the golf ball. Most people can't handle this. This language is called blueprints. It's specific only to Unreal Engine.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can read it. Can I create it? Oh, it'll take me forever.
Right. I mean, I see how it like kind of like within the word choice, like I can see how it kind of is similar to other languages, but it's more like it's almost like just a visualization of code.
So what this entire box is that you're seeing here is just zoom in and zoom out of your ball.
Wow.
That's just zoom in, zoom out. Like, people don't realize the amount of what it takes to do anything in a game. Let's see here. Server sets the save point. That's relatively simple. So the save point is like when you shoot the ball out of bounds, and then you know how the controls stop, and then it sets you back to where you were.
Yeah.
That's what the save point is. Or then we have return to save point.
Oh.
So this is just setting the save point.
Wow.
And then this is, send the ball back to the save point. And then this is the R for reset function of the save point.
Wow.
If ball is out of pitch, then return to save point. So everyone doesn't realize, like, we need to set a save point.
Right.
We need a function to return to the save point. We need the ability to press R to go back to the save point. And then we also need an automatic function of when
Wow.
you go out of bounds to go back to the save point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So all those is just save point in the game.
Hmm. Wow.
So it gives you like a little idea. And then of course all of your some of your physics stuff. We actually had to create physics for the game. We had to rewrite some of Unreal Engine's physics because it was just garbage.
Wow. Oh my gosh, what was that like?
That was probably one of the hardest parts to do. Basically, when a ball rolls down a hill or if it's going up, Unreal Engine views it the same as going straight on a normal incline. So when a ball jumps through the air, if you just the ball just jumps and you start coming back down, the ball would fall at the same speed that it was going up. Which isn't right. The ball should slowly gain speed as it's going down because it's supposed to be increasing momentum. So we actually had to code that into the game to increase momentum while the ball's falling.
I'm sorry, I just need to say this map looks so cool and I can't wait to play it. Okay, that's all.
So this map is in the game. So I showed you the original castle map.
Oh, this is a different map.
This is the map that is finished and now in the game.
Oh, this is the castle map.
This is the castle map that's in the game.
Yes! Yes, I am very excited. This looks so cool.
So we made the gates open and close. Basically, the flow of the map is you start out here and you go through, and then eventually you go into the castle. And as you go into the castle, then you kind of go through the castle. You get the stables, you got the castle wall, and then where the soldiers eat. And then back out toward the castle guards behind the castle. And then eventually you go into the castle.
Oh, that's how you get there.
And then after you go into the castle, obviously you teleport to each hole, right? But what you don't see is there's an entirely another map underneath the castle.
Wow, that's so cool. Oh my
So
gosh.
this is so then you start up here. And this is where you start. And now you're in the dungeon.
Wow. That's so cool. I love this. This looks like so much fun. And like this map in particular really capitalizes on setting the mood with all the props and things around it. Like this is the one that really just like makes me go, "Oh my gosh, wow," every time I look at it. Get a nice close up there.
Nobody's noticed the skeletons yet. Nobody's commented on our skeletons.
I noticed real well just there. Oh my gosh.
He's in the nice comfy we call it the back decompressor.
It's just to help him sit up straight,
Yeah, it's a posture chair, really. Nobody's really noticed the pile of skeletons either. Kind of hard to see, but they're there. They're just hanging out,
having a party, golf party.
We have this guy was a bad boy. He was in timeout. His skeleton, and then his head popped off. It's so yeah.
Wow.
He was in it too long. It's my bad.
I want to know if there's anything that when you were making this game, anything that you think would like really particularly surprised you, any major challenges or positive surprises that you had while making the game that you think would be interesting for people watching to hear about?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I started this project with no knowledge of Unreal Engine. I started this project with very just basic computer knowledge, or I would say actually slightly more advanced normal computer knowledge, because I was able to do a little bit of graphic design, like I said. The day I picked up Unreal, like I said, is the day we started this project. You can learn anything. 90% of what I know is from watching videos. So basically, I would sit there and go, I want basically like I want this acceleration pad, right? To add power to the ball when you go to it. So I would go and, okay, well, that's my goal for the day. I need to make an acceleration pad. So I'd go watch a video and see how they did it, and then I would make it and then adjust it for how we wanted it in our game.
Wow.
And everything you do, before you know it, you've watched 100 videos and you've done 100 different things in the game, and before you know it, your game starts coming together. But the biggest challenge, I've touched bases on it a few times. The biggest challenge in creating a game is actually getting people to actually commit.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to do 60-70% of the entirety of the work that's needed to accomplish your game, it'll never get done. And let's put it this way, we chose a golf game.
Yeah.
So it can scale to as big as we want or stay as small as we want. So the way we designed the game was, here's your flag.
Right.
Here, and if you look right there, there's the trigger. So if the ball touches that, then the game knows to end that hole. So we created each element in the game to be able to literally, from start to finish, I can create a hole. If I have the design of what I want to do, we can create a hole insanely fast and pump out maps insanely fast. And here, let me give you a little quick example of that. So you have to have a real idea of the layout of your programming and how you're going to move forward doing stuff. We spent a little extra time creating the programming how we wanted it, so that creating content can actually be extremely fast for us down the road. And so what I mean by that is we have all of our golf pieces made in the game, right?
Right.
So if I take this piece, put it down, I can then go copy paste, I can line it up, copy paste, line it up, and you can see just how fast we can start actually creating something. Let's see, we do like a small piece. Just giving a quick example.
Right.
And then we do a hole. So now we have all of our whole pieces. So like we made the entire game kind of modular.
That's smart.
So that when we're creating the pieces, we can just start pumping them out. But the problem is creativity. We have 90 holes now. We're running out of ideas. So like, let's do hole in small. Okay, so now we have where you start and where you go, but there's no programming in this. This is just an object, right? So now we're going to go back into it, and we're going to start adding our coding into the game. So currently we let's say this right here. We're going to do our start point. So this is all stuff that we've created in the game to flush it out so we can do this extremely fast in the end. This is where the ball will start. In the details right here, we actually said what the hole number is. So let's say this is hole 4 or hole 2. So the game will know that this is hole 2. Send the ball to hole 2 once it touches one of those trigger points, like I showed you on the flag.
Right.
Here's our flag. And then all we got to do is make sure that the flag is actually properly lined up. Now there's that trigger function that we told you about that has the coding. So the game knows when the ball touches the sphere at the bottom of this hole, that it ends the hole and sends the ball to the next hole, which is written here, whatever the hole number is. I literally just created a hole in front of you for our game in the matter of 3 minutes. So what I'm trying to do is explain, like, you need a game plan when creating your programming, because if you're going to create a game, you need a start and end goal.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to create a game like Cyberpunk, good luck.
Yeah, really.
because the amount of detail and sophistication is gonna be forever. All we're doing is golf, but we modularized literally every aspect of our game so that we can actually create content at a speed that nobody else can.
Wow. Yeah, and it's really interesting as you were going through that and putting things down. It's so cool to see how much customization you're able to do within this program. So like golf hole, for example, and like how you were mentioning how you had to do the physics yourself and all that, like you really did it in every way find everything you could do to make it speedy and practical for long term. I think that's so smart.
And then all you do is you create your you have all your materials, they're already in the game, and now I just stylized
Wow.
it to the map.
That's so smart.
So when you're creating a game, it's like I said, at least in Unreal Engine, we're able to do this. There's this function called blueprints, and we really utilize it in the game, so that when you drag and drop something, there's coding attached to that object. And so, for instance, I can give you another example. Let's do. This is probably one of the most used objects we have in our game. This is just a spinning log. I didn't have to do anything. It spins because we already created it. We already coded it.
Right.
So we made it to where it's just drag and drop. But I can do a lot of things with this now since there's already a rotating element on it. We can change how it rotates. And so we just use this system to literally create every aspect of our game. So we have the start point for the hole number.
Right.
We have the flag, the end point to transfer you to the next hole. The same thing goes for racer. Basically, it's a little bit more work, but in the end of the day, it saves you a lot of work.
Excuse me.
That's the only real way to explain it.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a crash course.
So, but then now you see in the engine, then you see the start point.
Yeah.
Then you have the holes, and then you have your end point, and then you have the next start point. And if you look here, this is hole number 9. Hole ends, and it goes over here, hole 10. So the way we designed it is, that's why I think we were able to produce this map in roughly like a week.
Yeah. Wow. A week?
From start to finish. And you have the upper portion of the castle, all the holes, and then you have the under portion, dungeon part with all the holes.
What?
And so these, for instance, you see all these gold plates?
Yeah.
You saw how I showed you the spinning log?
Right.
That's all these are. It's the spinning log, but they're just shaped differently, and we attached a different texture to them.
Which, by the way, that level looks terrifying. I'm gonna mess that up 20 times.
It's actually easy.
You say that now.
it's made to look terrifying. It's if you full send it, you make it like 90% of the time.
Incredible. So you're saying like not just the holes, like the atmosphere and everything, all the props and like the castle and everything. Oh, what?
So majority of these props were actually paid assets.
Well, I mean, you still have to find them and place them and do any rotation.
Every single piece.
All that.
Every single piece is a thing you have to create, and then also your play areas that we did. And if you look here, there's some boxes here along this hole. So when you come up here, this is an acceleration pad that sends you forward, and this is an acceleration pad that sends you forward.
Oh.
Then we also have acceleration pads you just can't see.
Huh.
And they keep you up as they're sending you through to the hole. But yeah, every single object has to be placed, and that's majority of what I do. 50% of my work is basically map creation.
Yeah.
So I'm the one going through and making sure you can't see the sky, making sure all the textures are right, making sure all these are lined up properly so that they look good, making sure all the fire, the torches, and everything's spaced correctly so that it looks right from the camera angle. So 50% of what I did was actually map creation. Like I created golf park night, I created volcanic, and I created castle.
So was the building created and then the actual holes, or were the holes created first and then you built around it?
So the building is actually created first, with the idea of getting the spacing of the map of the idea, and it's just because it's kind of like a process. Like we'll get majority of the castle built, and then we'll come out, we'll do a couple of holes, like because we knew we didn't have enough space, so we need to do a couple holes out in the front before going into the castle, and then we'll do a couple of holes, in the castle here. So we have 3 holes all in this image here, and what we'll do is we'll as it's built with the assets that we have, we'll go, hey, we can do something here.
Yeah.
Let's utilize the assets and create something.
So cool. I cannot get over this level. Ugh. Wow. I think this is the fact that you were able to, I mean, I acknowledging that there was a lot of work that went in advance to get everything to the point where it could be so fast. It just blows me away that all this could be done so quickly, because I would in my own brain, I would have guessed this would have taken at least a month for as small of a team. I mean, it's really impressive how you've set this up to make it so efficient, and I major props to you for that.
Yeah, and like I said, and I showed you the modular system for creating the holes, and that's the only reason why we're able to produce a map like this in a week. I think it was me by myself. I nobody touched this map but me, and I believe maybe 30 hours.
Wow.
35 hours.
Are you kidding? Okay.
Just working, getting it done, doing everything. And to see, like, I've been doing this in September now, and I know all the systems. So like, for instance, the out of bounds, right? Well, we need to set all the out of bounds. Well, the main out of bounds is just going to be the landscape.
Right.
Well, the out of bounds system is just what we used as a tag in the coding. It's right here. Out of arena tag. All I have to do is click this, type in out of arena because of how we've coded everything. And now if the ball touches this landscape, this grass, anywhere on this grass is out of bounds. So it's just like I said, we completely modularized it.
Yeah.
So that in a normal studio, this would take them like months.
Yeah.
To produce a map like this.
I mean, and plus, I mean, given the fact that, you are making decisions, this is at the end of the day, like your project, really. Like, you don't have to speak to a higher up and a higher up and a higher up. There's no like bureaucracy you have to deal with too. So that's one less thing you have to worry about.
Well, one good thing too is I play a lot of games. So like I know what players want in the video game. And my hardest part is not map creation. My hardest part is always being UI and the graphical aspects of the game, because we don't have a graphic artist.
Right.
That's why the UI and the main menu is kind of in the store is the way it is. Like it's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. That's so like if we get a graphical artist onto the team, like we'll be able to add more visual aspects to the game. And so like when you go here and you go to play the game, I have 2 open. So you go here to play the game. See here we have whole number, strokes at the bottom right. And we have power. I created the power bar with the rainbow feature. It's not the prettiest.
I mean,
it gets the job done.
Yeah, it shows exactly what it's intending to. Come on, you made this. You should be able to get this hole in one.
Well, the actual hole one's impossible.
Ah, man, they're trying to fool us, making us think we can do it.
And then here I can actually play the game inside the engine for testing and everything else.
That's really nice.
And then there it goes. Ends. The way the coding works, I can't continue. I have to play the game in a different way, but it's just for whole testing.
That's so cool. like I said, the first interview like this we've done, I've never really gotten to see this kind of depth of, all the things that go into the creation, and I gotta say it's even more impressive than when we got started. Like when I just this is exactly why I wanted to do this. There's so much that I just don't know about.
So here's the update list that we've done. We've only started doing the update list probably about a month now since the game came out. Just things that we fixed. Yeah, it's a lot. People don't realize the amount of time and effort and work that goes into actually creating a game, even simple games.
Yeah, and this isn't even, we're not even touching on there's a lot of other things I was like prepared to talk about, like the process for getting the game published, decisions on like where to publish the game and how all that works, and marketing and everything else. I mean, there's just so much that goes into this stuff that.
And so since our game's actually already released, we actually sent some emails out to a couple of publishers. So Steam itself is actually a publisher.
Right.
They publish the game, they put it on their platform for the sell and everything else. But there's no real contracts. We can go and sell the game other places as well.
Right.
So we actually sent out a couple of emails to a couple of publishing companies, like Humble. Humble's one of them. Then we have like Devolver Games, Team 17. They're the same ones that publish Golf with Your Friends. So currently we're waiting to hear back. No idea if anyone will even email back, but
right.
Because we have no idea how well the game will do moving forward. It could just completely die, or it could start just slowly pick up steam like it's doing currently.
Do you plan to just focus on this for a long time, or have you started thinking of other games that you want to do that this has sort of sparked?
So here's the thing: majority of indie devs fail and lose money on the games that they create. Golf Party technically was made with almost zero budget. There was roughly about $1,200 spent.
Wow.
In the creation of Golf Party.
Yeah.
That has to do with the music licensing, some buying of assets, hiring some freelancers for some of the graphical art that we did, like the logo. We wanted a good logo, that kind of stuff. And currently it's basically broke even. It hasn't exploded yet.
Hey, that's pretty good, actually. You're in early access. I mean, I know you're still working and adding things, and there are going to be more costs, but that's really impressive, actually.
So we believe currently we charge too much for the game. And that's kind of part of the problem, I think, why it hasn't blown up more, is because we're still getting wish lists onto the game. We're getting some sales, but nothing like, worth mentioning. But basically, your entire project, I feel, can fail if you just get the pricing wrong.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because Steam won't allow us to adjust the pricing. So, for instance, currently we have the pricing set to $15 a copy, which to me sounds right where it should be. It's literally the cost of a trip to McDonald's for a video game. You know what I mean? Like, but I've had a lot of complaints that the game's too much money, and like, okay. So we decided, we looking at the analytics, the numbers and stuff like that, and looking at it, we're getting like 50 wish lists a day, but we're getting like 3 sales a day.
Right.
Which is really low. But if we're getting 50 wish lists, that's still 50 people that are intending, that state they want the game, but they just haven't purchased it yet.
Yeah.
So here's what I mean by your game can literally fail just because of the pricing. So Steam started off, we launched the game at $15. Steam will not allow us to adjust the pricing for 30 days from launch. So here's the failing aspect, though. When a game first initially comes out on Steam, it gets a lot of traffic.
Right.
And you have a lot of views. We were averaging like 4,000 page visits to the store a day. So out of 4,000 people that clicked on the game to even look at it, You would think out of those 4,000 people, because they're on the store looking for a game to purchase, of those 4,000 people, we would have at least sold 50 copies. Right. And that's going low because they clicked on it. They knew it was a golf game. They wanted to check it out. They're looking to purchase a game. They're in the store and they clicked on the game. You would think that at least a 1% conversion rate or more would be, what it is. But see, here's the thing. So now we have 4,000 traffic page views to the store,
right?
But no sales. So now that we have no sales because the cost of the game's too high, sure, we got wish lists so that people can purchase the game later when the game goes on sale. We can't adjust the pricing. So now what happens? Steam looks at it as, oh, the game's not selling. Game must be garbage.
Right.
And then they're going to start showing it to less people. And then as they show it to less people, the chances of it selling more go less. And all because we can't adjust the pricing because we set the pricing at launch.
Right. Wow. It's a horrible, like, whirlpool cycle.
So many things that can go wrong. And so what? We're not selling the game all because of $5.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what, $9.99 is what will get people to purchase the game, but $15 is too much. And it's just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also hard because maybe some people, it's not even about the price. Maybe for some people, they would like the game out of early access, or maybe for some people,
and then they want more content. They want the
Right.
full game. They want to make sure it gets to a part that it wants to be.
So
100%.
So much going on.
But then people don't also realize, like, some people will say, like, oh, $15 is a lot of money for what we're getting. That might be true, but you have to think of it this way too. Steam takes 30%, so automatically off the bat, there's only $10 a sale, and then on top of that, you have 30% in taxes. Now there's only $7 a sale. So out of the $15, we're only getting $7 a copy.
Interesting.
So when we lower it to 10, 30%, 7, and then another 30%. Now we're going down to $4 a sale.
That's hard. That's a big margin.
That's a huge cut, and that's the reason why we didn't start the game off at $9.99.
Right.
We felt that $7 a sale was like, okay, that sounds about right for us.
Right.
We weren't looking at the 15.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't think I've ever heard. I mean, it makes sense that there is a margin. Fucking Twitch, as an example, takes half your subs. Bits are really pricey. Like, I don't know. We just don't think about what are the margins that Steam is cutting. It's a huge company. It makes sense that they're going to do that, and that does impact how much you get. I guess I would think, oh yeah, so I pay them 15, they're going to get 15, but no, that's not what it is at all.
Yeah, so everyone always just looks at it as, oh, they want $15 for their game. That's way too much. It's like, no, we don't want $15 for a game. We want $7.
Right.
This is the way that it works.
Wow. Well, on the bright side, for those of you in chat, I am doing a giveaway of 2 copies. I'm paying for it out of pocket, so you don't have to worry about Vulnor here not getting paid from it. He'll still get paid. So go ahead and type the word enter in the chat right now, and you'll be automatically entered into the giveaway. And once we wrap up here, I'll pull 2 names, and we just add me on Steam real quick. I'll get you a copy of the game, and hopefully you can join in to play with us tonight, because we're going to be playing right after this interview. So yeah. Wow. Ooh, are we looking at Alien Forest? This level looks so cool. Oh, I mean, the castle's impressive because you can see all the parts kind of around you, but this level is particular. It's all atmosphere, It's sort of like it's there, and you don't really necessarily focus on it as much, but it just changes the entire feel of the level. It's so and very unique. I don't typically see this type of thing. I mean, it's so beautiful.
What's crazy about this map compared to Castle is there's so much less in this map. And then I know you're not going to understand what I mean, but the amount of assets in this map is nothing compared to the amount of assets in Castle.
Mm.
So, for instance, we have all the grass.
Right.
That's only one asset. It's just copied and pasted everywhere to give it the grass look. Then we have the mushrooms. We have the circle mushroom and then the normal mushroom. And then we have these trees, these big ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're just different sizes as you go. See, we got the smaller ones over here. There's only about like maybe 20 or 30 different objects in this entire map. It's just because there's so many of it, it gives it that atmosphere look.
Wow. I think it's so impressive. I mean, so did you have to like, were these all hand placed, all the trees, all the like grass and everything?
So yes and no. The engine comes with a very, very powerful, what's called a foliage tool. And basically, you can literally just put, I want grass, these mushrooms, these trees, and then what happens is this. I don't have my full screen. I can't even scroll down. I don't have my whole thing. But basically, you would drag and drop all of the objects, so like this grass, these mushrooms, and this like these trees, and you would set the density of like what you want, and you can literally just go over and paint where you want everything, and it'll lay everything out for you. And then you just go back into it and be like, oh well, this tree is in the middle of this water. I don't want it here. I need to remove it, and you just delete it or move it. So like this mushroom here, we left, but it's in the water.
Wow.
See, like we need to go back through and like underneath the water.
Oh,
there's a lot of grass down here.
Hello.
So we need to go through and delete all this grass because this is rendered stuff that we don't need in the level. So like removing this would help increase optimization for the map and stuff like that. But like these don't really take up a lot.
Right.
So that's why it's not really a priority for us right now.
Gotcha. Wow.
Eventually we will go through there and delete everything underneath the water though.
I think now is probably a good time to wrap things up. I feel like I could literally talk to you for like 10 hours about this stuff. It's just so interesting to see how all this got implemented, and I think you're being very generous with showing us in detail, how you did all this. I have a couple people in my chat who have talked about potentially being interested in making games in the future, people who maybe they have some experience in coding or none at all in any of this. And I think this shows that it's complex and there's a whole lot to it, but it's not impossible. It is accessible. It's just a matter of having the work ethic and finding the resources.
Exactly. It's all about the work ethic. It's all about you need to keep pushing. So before Golf Party was released, it was mid-December, and we felt like, you know what, we could probably be ready in 2 weeks. And I went, no, something's gonna happen. Let's make it end of January. And it literally took all the way to the like. I was up till 10 a.m. January 28th.
Oh no.
Finalizing stuff, and the game launched 5 hours later.
Wow.
So like, yeah, always expect the unexpected, but also, like I said, it just comes down to, do you have the work ethic? Do you have the time to put into it to get it done? Because anything's possible, especially with the engines these days. You just need to know how to do it. YouTube, you need to learn something, YouTube it. Next thing you know, it's in your game.
Wow.
Also, my biggest thing too, if you're gonna create a game, don't create an RPG. don't go for an MMO.
You heard it here first, folks.
No, don't do it. Do not make it your first game. It'll never get done because there's just too much. There's just too much. And besides the fact that I didn't even go into anything about the network replication to getting the online game, the online portion of the game.
Oh God. I didn't even think about
That
that.
that's a whole online networking is a whole monster itself besides just game development. Like a single player game is so much easier to make than it is a multiplayer game.
Mm. Yeah, because your game, from my understanding, can reasonably run with more people than like the other typical main excuse me, games, right? Because I think Golf with Your Friends, I think, is 12, and I think Golf It is like they would prefer you to keep it around 8, but you advertise like 20.
Yeah. So
Whew. We don't have
well,
to
I
get
mean,
into it. I don't mean to
we
get
we kind of
here
we
all
kind of
night.
pushed it a little bit with 20, but we wanted to kind of, do it better.
Yeah.
um the the whole purpose of the 20 player was just because, like I said, golf with your friends is only 12. We needed to stand out, so we felt like we needed to be able to achieve it. But also our game, due to the fact that our game actually requires some sort of computer, like you're not enjoying playing our game on a laptop that doesn't have a graphics card, or like a really old laptop that doesn't even have like barely Intel integrated graphics,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just not going to run it well. Sure, you could probably play the game, but you're not going to be hosting the game to play with other
Yeah.
people from the laptop,
Right.
right? Especially our game. You might be able to get away with it with Golf with your friends, but because of that, we knew that the players hosting the games for our game would have a little bit better of a computer.
Mm.
So because we felt that our player base would have better systems, especially for the hosts, that we could push the 20 players.
Right. Right. Hmm.
It's like because remember when I said about the vertice counts, there is more vertices in this,
Oh my gosh.
what I'm showing you in this map, than Golf with Your Friends probably has in three of their maps.
Right. There's a lot. Yeah. Especially on this level. I can completely see how that would add up so quickly.
I mean, each mushroom I believe is like 3 or 4 thousand vertices.
Mm.
And like I said, majority of Golf with Your Friends maps are probably about 50,000 vertices,
Mm.
and one of these mushrooms is 3,000. So easily maybe 4 times the vertice count in each level. So
Right.
like the people that are playing our game obviously have to have a better computer than what they would be playing Golf with Your Friends.
Yeah. Ooh, but I see why. It is gorgeous. It is really gorgeous. People in chat are really I'm seeing a lot of people very impressed, especially with this level design. And I mean, guys, also you got to remember. So I'm showing this on a stream that's being sent to you after he, screen grabbed this and sent it to me. So it looks even better when you're playing. Like, trust me, it does.
Oh, it looks 10 times better when
It
you're
looks
playing it.
so great. I do have one final burning question, which is, did I hear a cat in the background earlier, or was I mistaken?
You might have.
I
I
love
might
cats.
might have been the sun. We do have 4 kitties though.
Oh, that's good. We like cats. I mean, we like cats and dogs, but good choice. This is very important stuff, you see. Wow. Well, I'm just so impressed and so grateful that you are willing to take so much time. If we have people in chat who want to make games, if you had to shout out one resource that was really helpful, what would you recommend they watch or read?
Well, like a resource, depends on what engine you want to use,
Mm.
whether it's Unity or Unreal, or if you want to use a different engine. There's multiple engines you could use. The Crysis engine, everything else. The resource that I would recommend is that whatever engine you decide to use, you need to join the Discord or forum
Mm.
groups for that engine.
Gotcha.
There's going to be a lot of help, a lot of tips, a lot of things you can learn in there. Plus, everybody that uses those are involved in those forums, and in those forums, that's how we found the people to join the team to create this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and so like most people cannot create a game by themselves. 99% of the people on the planet can't do it. So you're going to need to find people to join your team to work towards achieving your goal, and you're going to do that in those forums or Discord groups.
Mm. Great. That's super helpful and that makes sense. It's not just about learning, but it's also about connecting with people who can actually you guys can talk together and figure out how to do it. So
And
awesome.
because you're a team.
Yeah.
If you're not a team, it ain't gonna work.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there and then start playing a little bit and do this giveaway. But I just want to thank you one more time so much, Vulnor, for taking your time to do this and for showing us what it's like to be game dev and the inside look at Golf Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.